Hi, today we're going to start a series on larger LED lights. The first light that we are going to look at is the Rosco LitePad Vector, which is this light over here. So let's take a look. Today we're starting a series of larger, more professional LED reviews. After looking at several smaller LEDs over the past year and a half, we wanted to look at some more pro lighting gear, and the first light in this series is going to be the LitePad Vector by Rosco. Rosco is a very well-known brand to anybody in the lighting, film and even theater industry. They are one of the oldest companies around, operating since 1910. Today the company has a very wide range of products including LEDs, fog and bubble machines, pro color filters, screens and even special paints. Rosco were kind enough to lend us a kit which included 2 LitePad Vector LEDs, 2 light stands, a bag, plus a grid. All these minus the grid, which you can purchase separately, you can buy as a kit. However, as I'll explain in a moment, this review will focus on the LitePad Vector itself and less on the kit. The reason for this is that although the bag which comes with this kit is a really nice and useful Pelican case with a hard rear part, the light stands are, at least in our view, inadequate for professional work with a LED the size and weight of the LitePad Vector. The light stands are just too flimsy and poorly designed, and although we did use them, they will not be our choice for this task and are not recommended. If you want a LitePad Vector, do yourself a favor, pick up your own heavy-duty light stands or better yet C-stands. They will be a much better solution for these lights. With that out of the way, we can take a closer look at some of the specs of the LitePad Vector itself, as you can see now on the screen. The LitePad Vector has a square design which measures 8 inches or over 20 centimeters by 8 inches. It is passively cooled by heat sinks on the back, and most of the unit is made out of metal and is very sturdy. The design of the LitePad Vector is very simple. You only have 2 dials, one for the light intensity and the other for controlling the color temperature in the model that we have been testing. Operating them is also very intuitive. You turn the left dial to change the light intensity from 100% down to 0%, and by pushing it you go down by 10% increments. The same goes for the right dial for changing the color temperature, which goes from 3000 to 6000 degree Kelvin in 100 degree Kelvin increments. Pressing the dial will take you between some predefined color temperatures which from some strange reason are not exactly the same on our 2 units. The dials themselves and the entire dial box are the only plastic parts of the light. Although they do work fine, we would really prefer some better quality metal dials. Other than the dials, there isn't much else on the LitePad Vector. You have 2 DMX inputs, which we honestly didn't test, but they are nice to have, and a power brick which is attached to the back of the light with a screw. You can replace the brick and use either a V-mount battery on the back or an Anton Bauer battery, which you will probably need to mount on the side of the light or somewhere else, which isn't actually very convenient. At any rate, we use the power brick and our version worked with 220 volts, which is what we have here in Israel. Finally, the light came with a conventional yoke with a ratchet handle on the side. It is made out of metal and works okay, but locking the light completely can be a bit hard. In terms of performance, we tested 2 main things with the LitePad Vector: color accuracy and the power in a real-world scenario. Both these tests are not true laboratory tests, as we didn't have a professional digital light measure unit, which we are hoping to get for some of our future pro light reviews, possibly later this year. For the color test, we shot in daylight without the LitePad Vector and at night with a single light in front of a target at 1 meter or 3 feet at full power, and you can see the results on the screen. We are not 100% pleased with this test, as the light intensity between daytime and the test that we have run was not even, and it does seem to shift the colors a bit. At any rate, we can say one thing about the colors with the LitePad Vector. Although the numbers stated on the LitePad Vector back panel might not match exactly the actual color that the LED produces, we didn't notice any color cast, which is probably more important, as you can easily play with the color temperature until you feel that it looks good. Next, we have some examples of different power levels of the LitePad Vector. You can see how it looks from minimum power to 100% on different targets. We also tried the grid, which you can see us using now, and it can certainly help in some situations where you want less light spill. Over the several weeks that we had with the LitePad Vector, we learned a number of things which we are going to share with you right now. First, the LitePad Vector is a powerful light. With anywhere between 15 and 1700 lux at 1 meter, it is definitely strong enough for most interview type shooting situations, and certainly for product photography, which was especially true in our experience. Although the light is fairly soft at about 1 meter or 3 feet, at closer ranges, if you still want maximum power, you might need a little bit of diffusion. In our case, we did use a simple diffusion paper when shooting food to prevent hot spots. To turn the light off, you need to either disconnect the power cable or dim the light all the way to 0%. This is a bit annoying and we would really much rather have an on-off switch. For this matter, for the price, we would like to see either a Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi control from an app, which is quite common these days for many new lights. As we have mentioned, the light stands that came with this kit are truly horrible. We did use them since we are still waiting for our C-stand, but if we had any other option, we will throw them away immediately. They're just bad in every conceivable way. Use your own stands, and even an adapted tripod could be better in this case. When we shot food, we felt that we had to play with the color temperature a bit, as 5600 Kelvin didn't feel right, and we found ourselves shooting mostly at around 5000 degrees Kelvin. The only real drawback of the light itself was that we were hearing strange electronic high-pitched noise coming from the power brick. Since we have seen no mention of this in any other review online, and since it was happening to both our units, we look at this as an unexplained anomaly, and at this point we are checking this with Rosco and we'll keep you posted. So what do we think about the LitePad Vector? We have been using a dual setup of the LitePad Vector lights for over a month now, mostly for our vegan food channel Veggies, but also on occasion for product photography and videography, as well as some videos here on Lensvid and at least one unrelated journalistic assignment. Apart from mostly minor things that we have mentioned, the lights themselves function very well and were very reliable, which is highly important for professional work in our view. Although they don't get extremely hot, keep in mind that for some foods, especially things like ice creams, they might increase the temperature of the immediate area by a few degrees. The kit that we have tried with 2 lights, 2 stands and a bag is priced at around $2,000, while a single LitePad Vector costs just under $950. In our view, this pricing was certainly justified a few years back when there were less products on the market, but in 2016 and with so many strong options in the category to choose from, the light needs to either be updated or dropped in price. At the end of the day, the LitePad Vector is a workhorse. It is robust and should last the rigors of professional productions. It will work for countless hours without any issues, and it is very simple to operate. On the downside, the LitePad Vector is fairly heavy, has no on-off switch, and is certainly not the most inexpensive in the category. Also, as we have mentioned several times in this review, we do not recommend the light stands in the kit. If you want the light, just get them and use your own stands. So this was our review on the Rosco LitePad Vector. You can read the full review on lensvid.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On the next video, we are going to continue our tripod and head review series. See you next time.